Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ground and Pound Podcast Best Bets video for UFC Fight Night, Garcia versus Onama. And as always, if you're enjoying the content here, hit that like and subscribe button as we talk money lines, props, and parlays. And kicking things off, you know what we have to talk about. We have to talk about the slam of the week, my most confident play on the board, the one that I put the most money on every single week. And for the first leg, we've got Aaran taking on Losi here, over 1.5. I like this one to go long. I think this one's going to have a lot of grappling. We've seen with Losi in the past that she can't defend takedowns. We know what Aaran wants to do. She wants to come in and implement her BJJ, but she's not necessarily got the best wrestling. Both women fairly durable. I think this one goes long. We see a lot of clinching, a lot of attempted takedowns. Both women not known necessarily as finishers. I think this one plays out in our favor here. It goes over the 1.5. I think we see the judges' scorecards, but the over 1.5 here for the first leg of our slam of the week. And for the second leg of our slam of the week, we've got Norma Dumont and Ketlen Vieira here, over 1.5. This one to me is an absolute no-brainer. Norma Dumont, the better boxer, the better striker. She's going to fight on the outside. She's going to pepper with the jab. She's going to tap the low kick here, along with Ketlen Vieira. She's going to mix things up, looking to get you up against the fence, looking to get Norma up against the fence, implementing her grappling. And it's going to be a lot of stalling. It's going to be a very long, kind of boring fight, in my opinion. And I think this one also sees the judges' scorecards. We only need over 1.5 here for the second leg of our confident slam of the week. And for the third leg, we're going inside the distance here for Dante Johnson. He's going to finish Cedricus Dumas here. I think which way he wants to play this, he's going to get the finish here. He's very, very aggressive, obviously fighting up at heavyweight now, fighting at middleweight here. Very, very powerful hands, very athletic guy. And he's going to come in looking to swing bombs. We've seen with Cedricus Dumas, his head's not in the game. His fighting pretty much belongs inside the cage, but is always outside the cage. If you know what I mean. And I think he gets finished here. I think it's we've seen with Johnson in the past that he can mix in grappling. He can mix in the wrestling. He's got very high-level wrestling. But I think he comes in here. I think he throws bombs. I think he finds the finish on the feet. But just in case he does end up grappling and throw in a submission there, we're going to take him inside the distance here for about even money. I like this one this week. Very, very tricky apex card, some big favorites, some unreliable favorites, but I think this one hits, especially Dante Johnson, inside the distance, along with the durability of both women's fights here for the over 1.5. And next up, we have the chalk parlay. And kicking things off, we have Isaac Dolgarian here. We know what he wants to do. He wants to come in. He wants to mix in the wrestling. And I think that he does a good job of that in a lot of his fights. Very high-level wrestling, blast doubles, nice singles, relentless pace. He does tend to slow down due to that wrestling pressure. However, I think that he finds the finish here, maybe in round 2, maybe early in round 3 here to get back into the win column. We know what he looks to do, and he's going to stick to that game plan. And I do think Duval tends to use a lot of muscling sort of techniques and try to outmuscle his opponent, relying less on the ability to wrestle and more on his ability to be the bigger, stronger guy in there. I think that's going to get him tired and ultimately get him taken down, controlled, and beaten up on the ground. Give me Isaac Dolgarian here for the first leg of our chalk parlay. And for the second leg, we've got Billy El-Kanan here. I wasn't impressed with Kevin Christian, his opponent inside Dana White's Contender Series. He might be 6'7", but he lacks the skills and athleticism here, I think, to take on a guy like Billy El-Kanan. He's now obviously got 2 UFC fights under his belt. He did have that decent performance in his UFC debut on short notice against Bogdan Guskov. He was able to take the back early in round 1 of that fight, showed off some good grappling. And obviously in this fight now, he's going to be able to implement his striking like he did in the Ibo Aslan fight. And I do think that he's got to come out a little bit more aggressive than he did in that fight. But obviously 2 much higher level opponents here than Christian. And I think that he's going to be able to get this one done, mixing in the grappling, mixing in the striking here, rounding out at minus 104. I like both of these legs to hit here for the chalk parlay. And for our first money line play here, we have Chang Ho Lee, the Korean Khabib, taking on Timmy Kawamba. I don't think Timmy stands a chance here. I think that the Korean Khabib gets this one done using his grappling. I think he's going to be able to have that relentless pace. He knows what he wants to do, very much like Isaac Dolgarian. He wants to come in, push a pace, use his wrestling, get into dominant positions, land ground and pound. That's the main path to victory for him here, is to be able to use that wrestling, get into dominant positions and land strikes. We know that Timothy Kawamba, he has good boxing. He's probably the better striker in this matchup, but I think the relentless pressure here of Ho Lee is going to be enough in order for him to to get the victory, sitting at around plus 100 here. Timothy Kawamba as well, fighting in a new weight class, down in weight. We see what his cardio looks like as well. We know that Chang Ho Lee can really push a pace with the wrestling, and I think he does that here, which is why we're going to take him here as a slight underdog in our first money line play. And next up, we have the main event. We're going to talk David Onama here, sitting at around plus 100. I think there's victory on the cards for David Onama. Definitely an underrated fighter here. Steve Garcia, very talented, very aggressive, on a win streak of his own. However, he does leave himself very exposed, and a guy like David Onama, he can really crack. He's got a great counter right hand. He's very, very athletic, and he has definitely deceptive power. He can mix in the grappling like we saw in that Giga Chikadze fight, and I think whichever way that David Onama wants to take this fight, he can definitely have success. If Garcia comes out early and aggressive, he might gas, but he also might leave himself open. We've seen with Onama that obviously training at a good camp can really mix in the wrestling, along with probably being the harder hitter, more deceptive power in his hands. I think that he can definitely win this one against Garcia if Garcia is overly aggressive. Sitting at around plus 100, I like him as a slight underdog here in the main event. And that brings us to the favorite betting underdog here for the Ground and Pound podcast. And if you don't know, now you know. It is going to be Jeremiah Wells here, sitting at around plus 110. I believe his line opened at around plus 125. Full highlight reel tape already on the channel. I'll leave a link in the description of why he's my favorite betting underdog for this UFC Fight Night Garcia versus Onama card. And obviously, I have to let you guys know what's on the channel. We have the full card breakdown for UFC Fight Night, Onama versus Garcia. Check that video out. Link should be popping up shortly, along with the dog of the week, as I just mentioned, Jeremiah Wells. Full breakdown, keys to victory, along with a full highlight reel tape for him. And as always, if you're enjoying the content, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.